Why are people trying to normalize being overweight or obese? I lost a close friend at age 40 to obesity. He was 5 feet 11 inches and 380. It eventually caught up to him. As someone who has occasionally battled weight issues, thankfully living healthier physically and mentally these days, I can tell you that people that are overweight know they're overweight and likely already suffer from poor self-esteem and other mental health issues. Think of it this way. Instead of a drug, sex, or alcohol, they seek comfort in food. While it's fine to encourage someone as you did to get in shape, insulting them is not going to give the desired result. I fully agree that obesity should not be normalized. I think allowing a child to become unhealthily obese is child abuse. I have no problem with obese people. A lot of my friends and family are obese and I've never once made fun of anyone for it. But I will always encourage working out, eating healthy. What I think is very wrong from society though is when they show it off and basically say, there's nothing wrong with being fat. Is it okay to be fat? Yes. But there are a ton of things wrong with it. People are trying to normalize obesity because it's a pushback over being shunned and insulted. Every time you go out in public, speaking as an overweight person who is trying to improve, I can tell you from personal experience that I was insulted and made fun of all my life. Then you have the well-meaning people who only manage to make you feel worse. I used to be around 350 pounds. And have slowly lost weight to around 200 now. This wasn't done by insults and side-eye giggling. I am a type 2 diabetic who doesn't want to die for a few more decades. Food addiction caused my problem. And unfortunately you have to eat to live. So it's not like you can stay away. It takes more than willpower. It takes more than determination. It takes more than diet and exercise. It's an every meal battle. Saying all that, it would be helpful if people in general would refrain from looking at us like we are Godzilla, destroying Tokyo, or commenting that we are going to clear out a buffet restaurant. It only creates depression and lack of self-worth. Just be a nice human to other humans. I think a lot of times it comes from when comments are made at wildly inappropriate times. If you don't know someone, or even if you do not always know what their medical history looks like. A lot of times it's just not a person's place to make a comment. A fat person existing doesn't hurt anyone except themselves. Most of the time, fat phobia is harmful in that sense. In the instance of your cousin, you noticed his health was being affected negatively and so you reached out with concern. Emo. That was appropriate and your advice could have helped him avoid his premature death. I'm sorry for your loss. Op. I don't think anyone would think what you said was fat phobia, fat shaming. You are never going to meet a fat person that doesn't know they're fat. You're not likely to meet one that doesn't know precisely how much weight they should lose, or that there are health risks associated with their size. By making the decision to mention these things to them, you are becoming one of many people who feel like they have the right to comment on their body and tell them things they already know. The condescension of people who try to explain to fat people that they're unhealthy is a major part of the reason they don't want to have those conversations. It's like perpetual mansplaining. They already know. You are not helping. Offering to work out with a person who is morbidly obese might seem like a nice thing to do to you, but to them it feels like a trap. Come work out with me so I can watch you struggle and tell you all the ways you're doing it wrong, while you watch me do these things with relative ease. That's not a nice offer. I've been on the receiving end of that offer. It's humiliating. And no fat person wants to have to explain why they don't want to work out with someone who is more fit than them. Losing weight has to be a choice. And it can only happen when someone is truly ready. They have to be able to see their lives without the food and habits they're addicted to. They have to be ready to tackle the mental health aspect that has them indulging in a lifestyle they know full well is unhealthy. This is no different than someone who smokes or drinks deciding to quit. The pathology is the same. Forcing someone to start a diet, exercise regimen they're not ready for basically guarantees failure. That failure is likely to cause them to revert to their bad habits and probably put back on more weight than they lose. I've lost about 40 pounds since the pandemic started. It took many years for me to make the decision to even start because the thought of going through the process and not eating the foods that brought me comfort would lead to panic and anxiety. The only reason I was able to lose any weight at all is because I was ready. If I wasn't, I would have failed. I've failed before for just that reason. I'm sure you were well-intentioned with your cousin, and I'm very sorry for your loss. I know you feel it was avoidable, and I know you blame them for putting themselves in that position. I want you to try to cut them some slack. They were a human being who struggled, like so many other people, with mental illness and addiction. Their body was the effect, not the cause. Be kind to them. As a person who lost nearly half their body weight, I can tell you that I don't want unhealthy behavior normalized. What I do want normalized is treating people with respect regardless of what their body looks like. The medical decision is between that person and their doctor. You also don't know what led to that person gaining weight. It could be any number of factors. Mostly fat people want you to leave them the fuck alone. It is not your business. Both sides take it into extreme. Just don't be a dick about things is ultimately where we need to be. Is being fat okay? As a role model to kids? No. And for their health? No. But we don't have to dehumanize them because they're still people. As always, education on health is a big deal. However, being a little bigger than a stick isn't a problem either. Some people are naturally THICC or shorter or taller. They don't deserve to picked on because of it. TLDR, being overweight, obese is bad. But they're still people. Don't be a dick. Edit. Sorry about your cousin. Didn't mean to forget to acknowledge that. Education is important, but tolerance for that sort of thing isn't acceptable. If someone is 100 plus lbs overweight, then they have an emotional problem, not a dieting problem. Resolving the emotional issues that cause them to have an out-of-control relationship with food will be the first step to helping them achieve a healthy BMI. Body positivity is about helping people resolve the emotional trauma that caused them to gain the weight to begin with. It gets taken wrong and people use it to justify their current emotional status so they don't have to go through the therapy needed to recover. I'm sorry about your cousin. His body weight was a symptom of his mental illness. He needed help, and it came too late. It's not about normalizing it in a be fat and unhealthy way. It's about seeing bigger people as human beings deserving of the same respect as everyone else. It's about recognizing that not every single person on this planet is a size 0 supermodel. What is being normalized and accepted are people, mainly women, who are 180 pounds to 300 pounds. This weight isn't the idealized version society wants. But they're also not extremely unhealthy and incapable of living. Someone who is 200 pounds can still be pretty healthy and active. Someone who is 600 pounds is obviously severely unhealthy and will struggle with life. No one is trying to encourage anyone to get to this stage in life. What they are trying to normalize is treating them as a person. Fat phobia happens when you make unsolicited comments about someone's body just because someone is bigger. doesn't mean you have a free pass to talk about a stranger's body and health. A skinny person can eat McDonald's every single day and no one is going to look at them like they're a low-life monster. Being skinny gives a false perception of being healthy. Skinny people can suffer the same health issues as fat people: clogged arteries, high blood pressure, and even type 2 diabetes. Unhealthy skinny people are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes at the same rate as fat people. Except that skinny people are often misdiagnosed at first because of the perception that only fat people get diabetes. Fat phobia isn't about concern for health. It's about hating fat people and wanting to judge them. Why are people trying to normalize being overweight or obese? As a fat man, I've seen no evidence of this happening. If you make a comment and say someone should lose weight, unless you're a medical professional currently being paid to look at a patient, don't do that. Anyone who is overweight is very aware of that fact. They see it every time they look in the mirror, every time they try to buy clothing, any time they get on an airplane, every time they eat something in public. Nobody who is overweight needs random people telling them they need to lose weight. We know. Your unsolicited observation is not needed. In general, you should never comment on someone's weight. There is also the other end of the spectrum about people who look too thin. My husband is naturally very lean, with a borderline underweight BMI. But he's perfectly healthy, eats well, and regularly exercises. But he has an abnormally high metabolism. He often gets comments about eating enough, or people say to me, "Are you feeding him?" Those comments hurt both him and me, because it's nobody's business. I agree that it shouldn't be normalized for people to be morbidly obese. But most of the time there is a reason behind it, such as a mental health issue. In your cousin's case, who I'm sorry you lost to get to that amount of weight, he must have been suffering from some mental health issue, like an eating disorder or depression. So it's not as simple as suggesting he go exercise and eat healthier. You have to go after the core of what's causing him to eat to that extreme, and unfortunately, if he's not interested in getting the help he needs, there is not much else you can do. Often it occurs to an individual that they're getting fat long before others mention it, and they don't feel great about it. By the time it's a topic of conversation, it's easy to feel change is impossible and/or defensive about it. People get addicted to their self-destructive behaviors because they're familiar. Your behaviors define your identity to most people, including you. It's hard for people to think of their bodies as something they own and are responsible of the care for, like a pet, rather than something inseparable from themselves. And how do you change who you are? It's overwhelming. If you tell someone they should lose weight, you're kind of just automatically an asshole, though. Fat people aren't asking for your opinion on their appearance or health or lifestyle. Hell, if we're gonna start trying to police everyone that didn't ask health, then why not go up to a skinny person eating a burger and tell them to throw it out and get a salad instead? Why not go up to everyone in a bar and tell them they need to change their unhealthy drinking habits? The problem is never really fat people's health. The problem is always their appearance. Everyone should just have the common decency to not criticize others for their looks. It's cool that you told him in person rather than shaming him and commenting on his weight to other people. At 600 pounds, I'm pretty sure most people are in way too deep to be convinced by others to change their lifestyle. He really had to have his own desire, but he clearly didn't care, and now he's dead. Sorry, op. I never met a fat person who did not want to lose weight. They may act as if they are fine, but I would be very surprised if any of them didn't feel horrible about their weight. It excludes you from a lot of activities. It makes everyday life really difficult. Toilets, showers, changing rooms, any seat on any kind of transport, cinema, furniture, clothes. There often is a point where a person feels like they never will be normal sized, never will be attractive, healthy. Getting so big is a form of self-harm, of slow suicide. Like drugs, sugar is addictive. Sugary and starchy foods are cheap comforts when you are feeling low. I don't think obesity should be encouraged. But I also don't think just blaming fat people and thinking they got fat because they like being fat is helping. I don't agree with the normalization either. But people commenting, fat, go lose some weight, etc. on fat people's post won't help. Most people say they comment those things because they're worried about the person's health. But 99% of the time the comments are just very mean words and jokes. It's okay to try to warn someone, but choose the right words. What convinced me to go lose weight was some internet videos because they used motivational words. Because you look like an asshat if you open a conversation with, you should lose weight. If you know somebody, their life and their health problems, the conversation around their weight is a deeper conversation to have. But saying it to strangers, people you aren't close to, people you don't know, is just fucking dumb. However, I feel like your post is confusing. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody calling you fat-phobic for suggesting a family member should lose weight to help his visibly deteriorating quality of life. That term is reserved for making people you don't know feel bad for things that aren't your business. In my opinion, I think the way you did by offering to do it together is the best way. Let's face it though, over 400 pounds. You gotta start smaller. Like I'm going to come over and we'll go to the mailbox together. It sounds absurd, but for them that might as well be miles. As someone who recently went from 340 to 245, I can say anytime I tried a diet or exercise plan I failed. Portion control if things I like. An extra salad days from Salad and Go and I'm a new man. Took 5 years but slow and steady progress. Now I gotta start working, otherwise this last 30 pounds will take forever. Sorry to hear this news. There are many people that are overweight, but 600 pounds seems like an addiction issue. I truly feel bad for obese people. I had 2 very serious medical conditions 2 years ago and decided to make the changes to lose weight. I'm down 85 pounds since last October and have another 60 or so to go. Why do you think he ate so much that he becomes 600 pounds in first place? Probably not for the goal to be 600 pounds. So yes, telling them that, just go on a diet and do sport, is ignoring their issue just to force to do what you think they should do. Of course they already know that they should eat more healthy, do sport and lose weight. But because of something they can't. And treating them like they were idiots that don't know how to lose weight while ignoring why they use food as a shitty behavior. Imagine telling your junkie cousin to just stop doing drug or your depressed cousin to smile. That's the same level of understanding.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.